my friends, what's up? Happy New Year and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Elise. It's great to see you. If you're not new, welcome back. This video is going to be a bit of a hodgepodge of things. I want to do a 2024 reset, just kind of arrange and organize some books, just kind of think out loud about some of my goals and things that I want to kind of focus on and accomplish. Do a little mini haul of some books that I got for Christmas and things like that. So we're just gonna hop into it. First, I think let's start with the books that I read in December. Now, some of these books did make it into the video where I talked about every single book I read in 2023. However, I filmed that on like the 18th of December and I was able to read quite a few more books during the holiday break. So I'm just gonna go over them really quickly. For those that I missed, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I do want to mention them. First, we have Out on a Limb by Hannah Bottom Young. This is my first Hannah Bottom Young book. It did not disappoint. It was so wholesome and beautiful. Beau is a new book boyfriend. I love the story, the communication, the consent. It was just so sweet. It was so easy to consume. I think once I got into it, I finished it in 2 days. It was awesome and I highly recommend it. Then we have The Last Word by Taylor Adams. It was very fast-paced, twists and turns throughout the entire book. It kept me on my toes. I really enjoyed it, actually. This one lady leaves a 1-star scathing review for an indie author and he's like, take it down or else. She's like, no. And then weird stuff starts happening to her and to her house that she's kind of house sitting. Crazy stuff happens. Then we have A Match Made at Christmas by Courtney Walsh. This was a short Christmas story. I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of my favorite Christmas stories that I've read to date because a lot of them are, you know, a little cookie cutter, which I don't mind at all, but this one had a few extra elements to it that I really enjoyed. And also, I thought it was really well done for a short story. Normally I have a hard time rating short stories higher because it's just so short. I want more details. I want more of a wrap up. I want things to kind of conclude very nicely. And a lot of times that's difficult to do in a short story simply because of the, you know, shorter quality to it. You can only put so much into it, but this one was short. It was sweet and I thought it was really well rounded. Perfect dash of romance and Christmas. It was great. Then we have Barbarian Mind by Ruby Dixon. This is the 4th book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series, which I am currently rereading. I actually listened to this on audio, but I have this physically, so I thought I would show it off. It was great. I just love this series. Re-listening to it is making me really happy. This one follows Harlow and Rook kind of towards the beginning of the series. Rook has grown up alone and does not know a lot of things that pertain to society and language, and so that was a really big challenge for the two of them, and I just love seeing them overcome that and learning each other's own kind of language and building their own life and family. Then we have Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I actually listened to this on audio. If you're a member of Audible, then almost this whole series is free or in the audiobook library for Audible. So I actually ended up listening to this. It had a lot of potential, but there were a few parts that I really did not like. There was no apology for one. Number 2, absolutely no communication. She's sweet on the outside to these people, but with Hook she's supposed to be like sassy and like this different girl, like her full self, but she never speaks up for herself. Like she'll think it, but she never says it. I wanted to see her say it and do it and see where that led to things. I do see why people liked the spicy scenes. Those were really fun. I really enjoyed like the first half of this book and then some things happened and I was just like, no, I'm done. But overall, it was still okay. Like, it was okay. I don't know. I'll probably give this series one more chance. Then we have Before Your Memory Fades, which is a book that I read during my wrapping and rating my December TBR video. So if you want to know more in-depth thoughts, you can watch that video if you're interested. Then I have a video that should be coming out very soon, maybe next week, and that is reading a bunch of short books in a certain amount of time. So I'm just gonna rapid fire go through these and you can hear my thoughts on those if you're interested in that video. First we have Fairest of All. It is a villains graphic novel by Serena Valentino and Fiona Marchbank. Then we have The Crane Husband by Kelly Barnhill. Then we have A Year Down Yonder by Richard Peck. Then we have The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Lassay. Then we have A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L'Engle. That video was a hit, so definitely check it out if you're interested. Then we have The 12 Dates of Christmas by Ginny Bayliss. I tandem read and listened to this. This was really sweet and cozy. I really liked the 12 dates aspect of things. There was a time kind of during the middle of it, kind of around date like 6 or 7, where things kind of got a little but I just kind of sped through the audio and then it got really fun again. Overall, it was really cozy, really sweet. I loved the found family in this book. I loved the town. This town, I want to visit, I want to live there. It just seems so magical and whimsical, and I really enjoyed this book. Then we have I Married a Merman by Regine Abel. It is the 5th book in the Prime Mating Agency. I had such a great time. There are some people who don't like this book in the series as much because it kind of lacks a plot, and I'm not gonna lie, it does kind of lack a plot a little bit, but I loved the vibes. I loved the world. It was so cool. If you love mermaids, if you love like the second Avatar movie, like the blue people, then you will like absolutely love this book. The vibes were just so cool, and I'm just having such a fantastic time seeing what Regine Abel creates and does with these worlds and universes. Like, these come from her brain, and I just think that's so cool, and I'm just having a great time with the series. And last but not least, for December and for 2023, I read Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. I blew through this in one night, y'all. I am still kind of going through and annotating it. This book had me squealing. Luca is a new book boyfriend. I'm so excited to read the rest of the series because I love this so much. I love the small town. I loved their friendship. I loved their communication and like the progression of things in the story. I loved her farm. I just love the potential that this series has too. Next, I want to talk about the books that I received either as gifts or did a little bit of thrifting after the last haul that I did. I had an event on December 12th with my local library. Jodie Thomas, the national best-selling author, came to my library and spoke at Our Lady's Christmas Tea, and then she also did kind of a writer's workshop or like Q&A session. Also, because my mom is the director, I was very hands-on with this whole process. I got to go and have dinner with Jodie and her friend Donna. They were so nice. It was one of the awesomest nights of the year, I think. Jodie and Donna are just great. It's like a core memory for me. So while I was there, they were selling some books that Jodie had signed, so I bought quite a few. We got to support our fellow authors. And they had these cute little Christmas wrappings on them. So this is Christmas in Winter. It's part of her Ransom Canyon series, which is being turned into a Netflix series soon. Then we have The Little Tea Shop on Main, Mistletoe Miracles, also from the Ransom Canyon series. Then we have Breakfast at the Honey Creek Cafe. I just love this cover. And lastly, from that event, I also got Dinner on Primrose Hill, a Honey Creek novel. How cute is that? And they're all signed by her. I just think that's really awesome. Jodie was just so sweet, and she was very encouraging with my future author career that I'm trying to work on and grow. She never made me feel like a burden for talking about it. She was very encouraging, always giving advice. That was just a really, really cool experience. Then we have a few gifts. First, we have You Again by Kate Goldbeck. This is from my friend Ellie. Thank you so much, Ellie. Then we have Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren. This is from my friend Miley. Thank you so much, Miley. We both are currently obsessed with Christina Lauren. We went to a Christina Lauren event together earlier in 2023. It was so much fun. I haven't read this one yet, and so I'm really excited to read it. The last book for a gift this year is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. If you watched my favorite books of 2023, the best books I read in 2023, All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir was my all-time favorite. It was so good. I've been toying with reading this series for a while now, but I hear it's a little bit of an investment, but after reading All My Rage, I'm like, I don't care. Give it to me. My boyfriend's brother and his girlfriend, Martin and Megan, who I also consider my friends as well, got me this book. So thank you so much, Martin and Megan. I really appreciate it. Speaking of Martin and Megan, they also got me a reading journal, which is so ironic because I got Megan a reading journal and Martin a books, which they share. They like both read all of the books they have. So I thought that was so funny that we literally just swapped books and reading journals. So it has some really cool like trackers for tracking how many days a year you read, the books that you want to read soon, a reading log, a reading challenge, a wish list, and a section for writing reviews and quote. I'm really excited to try it out. I tried doing a book journal, but I just got annoyed by how imperfect my designs were, and that's like all I could focus on. So I think maybe having like a standardized design will hopefully help me get over how it looks and just like do it, you know what I mean? Then we have a few thrifties. We have The Winners by Frederick Bachman. No, I have not read the first book, which is Bear Town, or the second book, but this was just in such nice shape, and I think I got it for like $1.50. So of course I'm gonna grab it and add it to my shelves, and I've loved everything I've read at Frederick Bachman so far. And last but not least, we have The Party Crusher by Sophie Kinsella. This cover just looked really cute, and the synopsis sounded a little bit ridiculous and fun. It just looks like it'll be a fast, fun read for like the spring or summer or something. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about books that I want to try and read in January. Currently, I have a lot of books that I'm in the middle of what's new? Mood reader for life. So currently, I thankfully am only in the middle of one ebook, and that's Needs More Time by Nellie Wilson. I'm really enjoying it, but at the same time, it's so relatable, and it reminds me so much of my time when I was teaching in Korea during COVID. If you're new to my channel, I used to live and teach English in South Korea for 3 years. 2 of those years were during COVID. It was tough. You know, everyone had their tough experiences and stories. It's so relatable, and it reminds me so much of that time that sometimes I have to just like put that down and like feel the feels for a little bit. So that's why that story is taking a little bit longer for me to read, but I am really enjoying it. Then we have A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I am about 30% through, almost 300 pages. I don't know when I want to pick this up again, but I'm gonna wait for the time. So I don't think I'm gonna read it this month, but it's there as an option. Aside from Needs More Time, my next priority is going to be Misery by Stephen King. My boyfriend and I are currently buddy reading this, but actually he finished reading it like a day or 2 ago while I fell asleep. So I am currently on page 115. So I really need to hop on this. He really wants to buddy read another book. I think the Red Rising trilogy or series next. So I need to get on this. Then we have A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. I started reading this over the break. It's really fun and cute so far. You can tell the main characters are both hot messes. I'm only on page 35, so I have a little ways to go. It's over 400 pages, but I'm really enjoying this, picking it up just like in between things, while I'm eating, while I'm taking a short little break. So I want to try and finish the rest of this in January. Then we have Loveless by Alice Oseman. I'm actually listening to this on audio. I'm having a little bit of a hard time because right now the very main focus is on our main character trying to find romance. However, she is just having a really hard time, and I know why, but she doesn't know why, so I'm not enjoying the journey as much as I was hoping I would, but I'm wondering if I just picked it up physically, if I could just zoom through a little bit faster, because in the narration, she sounds so uncertain all the time, which she probably is. But that uncertainty is just like messing with my head. I think if I read this physically, I can maybe zoom through it a little quicker, so that's what I'm gonna try and do next. Then I just got my Libby audiobook hold in for the Inheritance Games, and I think I'm on chapter 12, and I'm very intrigued. Like, the only thing that's happened so far is what the synopsis tells us, but I'm still very intrigued. I'm enjoying how it's like laying itself out, how the story is developing, and I'm very curious to learn more about the brothers. We can already see a lot of their personalities so far, but I think I'm gonna have a fun time learning more about the brothers. And the last book I'm in the middle of that I do want to try and finish is the 9th Wings of Fire book, Talons of Power. This one follows Turtle, and the reason I just had a hard time getting into this book is because Turtle is a watcher and a wanter but not a doer. So he talks about what he wants to happen, what he should do, and he just can't, and nothing's changing, and he just can't, and I got a little tired of it. I'm sure if I push through a little bit more, it would go by quickly. I have like 150 pages left. I need to just push through it, but I just haven't felt the desire to pick this up again recently. So these are the books that I'm currently in the middle of in order of the priority that I want to read them and finish them, and of course needs more time as well. Then we have a few books that have been on my January TBR for a little while now, but we're gonna see if I get to them. I would love to, but as you can tell, I have a lot of other books I need to get to. We'll see. Okay, first we have a book that's been on my TBR for a little while, and that is The Dinner List by Rebecca Searle. I really want to get to this also because Rebecca Searle has another book coming out soon in the spring. I think it's called Expiration Date. So I would really like to read a few more of her books before I read that one. I believe this book has to do with a girl who is having her 30th birthday, and when she goes to dinner to meet her best friend, she finds the table with some unexpected guests. Among them, her favorite professor from college, Audrey Hepburn, and her ex, Tobias. I think it's a story about why all of those people are at the dinner table with her, why they mean so much to her to be there on her 30th birthday. And I think it's a little bit of a love story too. And then we have Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemor. The way I understand this is that Una lives a year in one age, but she doesn't live those ages consecutively. So for example, on her 18th birthday, she turns like 57. And then a year later, she turns 36. And then a year later, she is like 21. The time element and the way that she is living these years and like trying to figure that out was just really fascinating to me. Then we have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I just need to get to this, y'all, and I've been really in a romance kick lately. This was just the top of the top on a lot of people's lists in 2022, and so I need to get to it finally. Then we have In 5 Years, also by Rebecca Searle. I heard this was kind of wintry. This one actually is a little shorter, right? Yes, it's 255 pages. I've wanted to read this for a while, and now seems like a good time to do that. Last but not least, for my potential January TBR is The Second Chance Year. This just recently came out in December by Melissa Weisner, and I've heard really good things about it so far. It has to do with our main character, Sadie. Her life is like falling apart. She had a spectacularly terrible year, and at the end of the year party, there is a fortune teller who is like, make a wish. She makes a wish and then kisses her brother's best friend, Jacob, and the next day she finds out she returned to the top of that very terrible year that she just had. And so, you know, hindsight is 2020. Wow, why was that so hard to say? Hindsight is 2020, so she's kind of like reliving this year, making better decisions, but she's always kind of like in the back of her head thinking about that kiss that she had with her brother's best friend because he doesn't remember it. let's talk about some goals or intentions for 2024. Now, I know everyone has different views on goals and intentions. I understand why people don't like to do them, because that can be seen as something that's stressful or almost limiting in a way. I personally like to have some intentions with the knowledge that I'm not going to be upset at myself if I don't accomplish those. Now, I do have some hard goals. I like to give myself a few every year, but other than that, I just like to have a few things here or there that I want to focus a little bit of attention to, but if I don't do it perfectly or don't like accomplish it incredibly so, I'm not going to be mad at myself, because I'm human and things change and a lot can happen and change in a year. So if I don't accomplish them, so be it. The first big goal that I do have for myself is to publish my novel. If you are interested in my novel, I will be having a video coming out soon where I talk about, you know, what my story is about, the processes I've been through, the things that are coming up, and some really exciting news and things like that. So stay tuned for that video. I will be giving more information then. Launching and publishing my book is absolutely number one. Number two is actually to read less books this year. Last year I read 162 books, I believe, or 161 books, which was a lot. This year I want to focus more on my book launch. I will be in grad school, I will be moving. One of my personal goals, not just bookish goals, is to travel a little more this year. So with that, I'm just going to have less time at home and less downtime. So I don't want to put so much focus on reading. My heart cries a little bit at that. But I still think 100 books is very doable, especially with audiobooks. Audiobooks are amazing. Last year I read and listened to at least 50 audiobooks. That's half of my goal right there. I still think I will be reading a lot of books, but in my free time when I can have a physical book in my hand, I think I will be doing a little bit less of that this year. And if it's less than that, then it's less than that. I still have so many things that I'm going to be proud of in 2024. Then this one's not a hard goal because I don't want to stress myself out too much. Last year, I really enjoyed rewarding myself whenever I did well on a project or did well in school. One way to make myself happy and reward myself was I would go and buy books. I don't want to do that quite as much. Maybe I could thrift books, or I could just buy one book as a good job, Elise. Or instead of buying them all at once, I could collect, you know, one good book per assignment, and then, you know, once I have 4 good assignments, I can go buy 4 books, you know, because I have a really hard time just buying one book at a time. That is a goal of mine, is to buy books a little bit less, because I want to save that money for grad school, for traveling. I'm moving in with my boyfriend this year. So a lot of good things are coming, but I should probably spend a little less money on books this year somehow. And you know, maybe I can go on a date by myself to the library, and that can be my reward. That goal or intention is a little vague, but I think you get the idea. I get the idea. It's just read what I have on the shelves, maybe go to the library and buy books still, just not as much. Another one of my goals is to focus on book series. If you've seen some of my recent videos talking about series and things like that, I have a lot of series that I'm in the middle of that are completed that I would like to finish, just to like get them off my shoulders, say I've completed them, and just, you know, continue them. Finishing a series is it's a very accomplished feeling. I want more of that in 2024. Another thing I want to do this year is to read a few more non-fiction books. The past 2 years, I have read exactly 6% non-fiction books. If you've seen my 2023 and 2022 recap, both years I read exactly 6% nonfiction. And I think it was something like 9 nonfiction books, which isn't bad, but it could be better. And so I want to challenge myself to read a little more nonfiction this year. I have some really cool nonfiction on my shelves that I want to get to, and in my audio library, like Believe It by Jamie Kern Lima. She is the creator of It Cosmetics. And then we have A History of the World in 6 Glasses, where it talks about the 6 most influential drinks in history, and kind of like these skeleton drinks that created all of the other drinks. For example, like soda, tea, coffee, or fermented drinks and stuff like that, and how that has affected the culture and history of certain places. So that's just like really fascinating to me. So I have a lot of really interesting nonfiction books that would hopefully make me view the world, or maybe something about the world, in a little bit different way, make me a little bit more educated, hopefully, make me think about things differently, just broaden my horizons, even if in like a little tiny way. I've also mentioned this a few times already in previous videos, and especially during Bookmas, but I want to read more diverse authors, whether that be authors of color, authors who are maybe on the spectrum, authors of different sexual orientation. I do want to try and focus on that a little bit more this year. I actually have my book cart already kind of set up with that. If you saw this video right here, I set that up already and kind of explained my thought process and things like that. That's definitely something that I'm looking forward to more in 2024. Okay, my friends, let's put some of these books that I talked about away. First, this is where I keep like my Christmassy and holiday books, so I'm gonna put those back in there. I really gotta work on this. I love these books that are up here, but the Christmas lights and the candle, not doing it. But the rest look good. These all up here are books that I have read all the way to here and here. And then the rest are books that I have not read yet. And then we have a bunch of series over here. A lot of these I've read, some of them I haven't. Like I haven't read this one yet. I haven't read these two. I haven't read a handful of the Wings of Fire series, nor King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. I haven't read a few back here. I want to read or start the Cassandra Clare universe this year if I can, and finish the Percy Jackson universe. I have read most of those, not those yet. And then I've read all of these down here. So it's a collection, a mix of books that I haven't read. And then we have my TBR cart, which I put together in this video right here, if you want to check that out. I have made a few additions, like I added in my Ember in the Ashes, A Woman in Salt, and then some more of these books. Lots of series and fantasy. Alright my friends, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little 2024 reset. I would also love to know your goals and intentions for 2024 if that's something that you enjoy talking about. I would love to know what you guys are hoping to get up to in 2024. And with that, I wish you a happy new year. I hope you're doing well whenever and wherever you're watching this, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone!